What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Final Whistle, episode 22. And filming today on Thursday, so we're not going to be able to get you out of that Thursday night coverage, but we're going to kind of redo what we did a few weeks ago, I believe, on episode 17. So if you want to go back to that episode, that was, a week or two ago where we ranked every NFL team.
Yep.
We're going to do it again. It's just kind of like our version of power rankings. Let me screen share here, and I can pull up what we had last time.
So it's funny, instead of recapping Thursday Night Football, we're as well going to preview Thursday Night Football instead.
We'll just preview it. So here we go. This is our tier list we had last time, where there's some stuff we really got to change. We need a lot of changes. So I kind of did like a 31-32 here instead of grouping them all.
That is good.
So I think off the bat, Steelers have to jump Commanders, right?
First of all, let's start with the bottom before we get up top.
Sure.
Because we're going to do this as slow as possible. Because I don't want to rush it. I think the Panthers are no longer the worst team in football.
Who is?
I don't think they are. I think it's the Giants or Titans. The Panthers. See, the thing with power rankings, you can't just
Giants have the worst record. Sure.
See, you can't just look at records. You have to look at how they're playing the last few weeks. The Carolina Panthers, as crazy as it sounds, are on a winning streak.
And it's Cowboys are last.
Yeah, the Cowboys have the better roster as well. The Cowboys are lower than what we had them, because we had them at 19th. It looks like they're playing like a 23-32 team right now. But I don't think the Panthers are last. I think it's the Titans or Giants. I think there's a couple arguments.
I think it's tough for me not to say Panthers are last here.
I don't think they should be.
I got you, Nick. We'll get there. Let's defer. What you think? Titans are the worst. So Nicholas says Titans are the worst.
I kind of agree. Like the Titans are not. They don't have a quarterback. They just lost DeAndre Hopkins.
I can't move Panthers up more than 31. I can't.
I'd put the Giants behind the Panthers. Didn't the Panthers just beat the Giants?
Okay,
they did.
That is that. You know what? That is true. That is true.
Giants just lost to them in Germany.
Yep. All right.
So I'm trying to see who else. So bottom tier. Oh. Okay, so I agree. I like the Titans last. Giants, I'm fine with.
I think Saints have to drop behind Raiders. I think Patriots have to go up. Drake May.
Yep.
Patriots got to go up over the Jags at this point, right?
Let's see here.
I think Patriots got to go 26.
The Patriots right now, 3-7, tied with the Jets as well in record. Drake May is playing pretty good, in my opinion. He hasn't been perfect, but they've looked better with him. The Jaguars, they are losing games that you don't even know how they lose because they lose so close and they just blow it. They lost 12-7 this past week. They didn't have Trevor Lawrence. I'm curious if he's playing this week or not. Yeah. If they don't have, like, the Jaguars are toast. It sucks to say. I think Peterson's going soon. I think they need to get rid of their coaching staff.
Yeah.
The Raiders, I think maybe here's the thing with the Raiders. I think they are behind the Saints. Record-wise, they are a game. Yeah, the Raiders 2-7. Yeah. Saints are 3-7. I would still put the Raiders ahead of the Panthers, though. I would still do that. Nicholas is saying Lawrence is out for good. I'm not sure about that. If he is, that is going to determine a lot.
I think so.
I'm going to look that up while we.
Yeah, fact check that. So when I look at this 26 through 30, I think it's our hardest sector we have. There's going to be a lot of changes to this list. A lot of changes. I mean, you got to look at our top 5. We got the Texans up there. I mean, top 6, the Vikings are up there. The Bears are at, 14th? No shot.
Yeah. Update on Lawrence, not to cut you off. Looks like on a podcast, on their Insider podcast, they said Doug Peterson spoke Monday. Any updates they asked, and he said it's hard to tell right now. So I don't think he's out indefinitely, but it's definitely a question mark.
Sure. So I think 26 to 30, I think we're good with this. I think Jags are better than Jags are horrible.
That's a sad story how they
It
just
sucks.
I mean, I like it when the Jaguars are good, but they're very like the terrible towel cursed, people like to call it.
You cooked them.
It has affected them greatly
Sure.
if you don't believe in it. But okay, I think our bottom 26 to 32, it's about the same team.
Yeah,
They're
it's
just
going to be
getting
tough to switch around, but I think honestly, no, that's crazy. I think we got to drop the Browns.
Okay, so 21 to 25. I think there is a certain team above them in a 16 to 20 tier that needs to be moved down. That is the Dallas Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys go here. Dolphins or the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals deserve the
Cardinals should be bumped up.
Seahawks need to be moved down.
The Cardinals are leading the NFC West. They're 6-4. I put them higher in that tier.
I think we move the Bucks, move the Bengals up. Dolphins beat the Rams. You have to put them in front of them.
Okay, here's how I want to rank 21. Here's how I would do 21 to 25.
Okay.
I would do it, honestly, as dumb as it sounds, I would probably put Seahawks. I would actually put the Jets ahead of the Cowboys and Colts just because they do have Aaron Rodgers. They have a solid offensive.
That's true. That's true.
They've lost a lot of stupid games. But roster-wise, they're still there. They're hypothetically still in the playoff hunt. I don't think they're going to make it, but they're the 1-3-7 team that I think could make a jump.
See, Nick, you said I like Seahawks. Let me pull this comment up. You said I like Seahawks over Bucks. Seahawks have not won a game since they were 4-0. The Bucks have at least won games.
Let me pull up the Seahawks schedule, see what their losses look like. So they were 3-0. Then they lost to the Lions, the Giants they lost to the Niners. They beat the Falcons by 20.
Okay, never mind.
But then they got killed by the Bills and then lost by 6 to the Rams. Yeah. So that's how they got to 4-5. So the Seahawks
I would be
very
fine.
Bad losses.
Would you be fine? This is tough. I say we bump the Seahawks. They're a better record than the Jets. They have to be above the Jets.
Yes, I agree with that.
But the Bucks at 20. I mean, here's the thing: Bucks can win a football game. The Bucks can go out and they'll win you a damn football game. Baker Mayfield can do it. He's shown that. They went toe for toe with the Niners last week. So
and the Chiefs without their receiver weapons.
Yeah, so
they lost the Chiefs by 6, Niners by 3.
Bucks over Seahawks as of right now.
And I say this too. I get the Seahawks respect that people want to give them.
I have. I had the Seahawks on my NFC Championship.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm taking Baker Mayfield over Geno Smith right now.
Yeah,
personally, I think Baker Mayfield has taken a massive jump this season, so that is why I'm putting the Bucks still ahead of the Seahawks. But looking at the rest of 21 to 25, I'm trying to figure out an order for Colts, Cowboys, Browns. Just because
I think it's
Colts
perfect. I think Cowboys. I could even, I was gonna say move the Cowboys beneath the Browns, but no,
I think you can make an argument for them going down. Even Nicholas also brought up the Bears. I think they're a team that they're dropped a lot. I think they could be dropping to the low 16 to 20, fringe 21 to 25.
I think even they can drop to. Hear me out. Drop down to here. You want to move the Bengals up?
It would be the Bengals or Cardinals.
Yeah,
probably the Cardinals because they have the winning record. Would you go
Seahawks up at 20, Bears 21?
Seahawks. You said Seahawks 20, Bears 21.
This right here.
Honestly, yeah, I'd be fine with it.
I like this.
The way the Bears have been playing, they just fired their offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams hasn't been lighting the world on fire. I like it.
And I like Chargers. I like Chargers over Bengals. I like Broncos over Chargers. And then I'm fine with 11 through 15 as right now. Honestly, I am.
Can we look at 16 to 20 again really quick?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't agree with the Cardinals being below the Dolphins or Rams. The Cardinals are leading the NFC West right now. The Rams are 4-5. Yeah. I get they might have the better roster, but I think the Cardinals should honestly, if it's based off record, how you're playing lately, the Bengals, they've been playing close games, but they've been losing games.
That's true.
I think there's people like the Cardinals are in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
The Bengals
Yeah,
are fighting for
Totally
it.
right. You're totally right.
I think the Cardinals should be replacing the Bengals, and then the Bengals go in front of the
I
Dolphins.
think, hear me out, over the Dolphins.
Who, the
Cardinals
Bengals?
over Dolphins? No, Cardinals over Dolphins. The Cardinals, dude, Kyler Murray's been balling
Oh,
the hell
yeah.
out.
I think the Cardinals should be ahead of the Bengals. I think the
Okay.
Bengals should be. I think you should switch the Cardinals and Bengals personally.
I like that.
That's what I would do, just because I feel like the Cardinals should be rewarded for what they're doing. Nicholas just put in the chat Bengals over Chargers and Broncos, and I think it goes Rams, Cardinals, Dolphins.
I don't think I can put Bengals over the Chargers. Yeah, but see, the Bengals as a team are so good. They just haven't won games.
That's the thing with power rankings that's difficult.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you have to take into account current state of how they're playing.
That's why it's
But their
tough.
defense is holding them down.
I think Bengals, Chargers, Bengals, Cardinals, they play. I give it to the Bengals.
Yeah, here's the thing that's holding down the Bengals, like I just said.
But they just had a loss, and the Cardinals just had a win. So it's weekly power rankings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think the Bengals should be lower than last time, just because their defense is atrocious, and they just don't keep them in games. I think it is holding them back, and I think if their defense is better, they're a better team.
The Bengals have moved up 2 spots. They were at 18th last week, and now we've moved them to 16. I think that's fine, just because of how they played Thursday Night Football. I think that's perfectly fine.
Did you have a picture of it from last time?
Yeah, I have it pulled up right.
I should have wrote them down as we go. After this, I'll write them down. In the chat, I would rather play the Chargers or Broncos rather than the Bengals, so that's why he's saying that.
Yes, I agree.
That is fair.
I feel like I would also rather play the Bucks more than the Jets right now, but like you can't have the Jets. You know.
Okay, here's the argument with the Bengals. I agree. Rather playing the Chargers or Broncos.
They're the hardest team, and if you look at any power ranking on Instagram, all the comments are about the Bengals being too low or too high. It's always the Bengals because they're just such a weird spot right now to where this is a good team on paper. It's a great offense. It's one of the better ones. You got Joe Burrow, who's a top 5 quarterback. I'll say it. You've got Jamar Chase, who right now is a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, and they're not winning football games. So on paper, this is a team that should be top 10, right? But they just haven't found a way to win the football game. And I think that has to reflect in the power rankings. I think it has to reflect in the power rankings. We can't punish teams for winning.
And here's the funny thing.
We can't.
Sorry to cut you off. Continue.
Oh, good.
I'm looking at the playoff rankings right now. Who would be in the playoffs today? The Bengals are the 9 seed. They are behind. Actually, they are tied with the Colts, who we have behind them, greatly behind them.
Way better than the Colts, though.
And then they are 1 game behind the Broncos, who are 5-5.
Yeah.
So sorry to go. You can continue.
I'd be fine putting the Chargers have been good though. They've been good. They've been playing really well with Herbert and Harbaugh and Edwards and Dobbins. Oh my.
I'm completely fine. I'm looking at the teams in the NFC at least that we have behind the Cardinals, because I think when we moved the Cardinals up, it sparked a little bit of discussion.
Yeah.
Because I think they should be up there. I think you can make the argument they're ahead of the Cardinals or the Broncos, maybe, the way they've been playing lately. Their offense has been thriving. They've looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals, currently NFC West leaders, they're 6-4. Currently in the NFC, they are actually better record-wise than the 49ers. I don't think they're better than the 49ers, but record-wise, they're ahead of them. They're ahead of the Rams, who we have them ahead of. They are ahead of the Buccaneers, who they are ahead of. They are ahead of the Seahawks, who they're ahead of.
They just put belt to ass against the Jets. I mean, they whooped the hell out of the Jets.
And we like to clown the Jets, but they still have a guy in Aaron Rodgers who you don't know if he's going to be good or not. They just traded for Devontae Adams. They have Sauce Gardner back there. They have a bunch of guys. Garrett Wilson.
Well, it's the timetable of they have Devontae Adams, bro. It's been 3 weeks. I
think they're 1-2 since
they have had Devontae Adams. It's not like they just got him. No, they've had him now for 3 weeks. He came against the game against Pittsburgh. Since then, it has been 3 weeks.
1-3. They're four games. 1-3.
Yeah, they've played. We have to be done talking about. Okay, well now the Jets. Now the Jets. No. It's been the Jets, and they haven't won. They're not going to win. It's just it has to start somewhere. And that loss to the Cardinals, man, I'll tell you what, that That's your worst loss of the year. That was the biggest. You had to win that game, and you couldn't. And it's not even like you had to win that game, and you just had it. No, you got belt to ass. You got spanked. It was embarrassing.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers should be embarrassed. You're trading for Devontae Adams, and you think that this team's going to be amazing. On paper, that is probably the best receiving core in the NFL with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. But they just can't get it done. And everyone raved about the offensive line, the defense, but they're not getting it done. Okay, so I can't put the Jets any much higher, and I think that the Cardinals just absolutely spanking them just kind of speaks volumes for where the Cardinals are.
I agree with that. I'm looking at the Jets since they have Devontae Adams. It looks like they are 1-3. They got killed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that was the game they were up by 15 points, and they just allowed 37, or I think it was 31 unanswered. They lost 37-15. They lost by 3 to the Patriots, which was very upsetting for them. So they go 0-2 with Devontae Adams on that team. Then they beat the Houston Texans, who honestly, we'll get to them in a little bit. I don't think they're as good as what they look. I think they're underperforming what they can be. And they've also had a lot of injury issues, but they beat them 21-13. But then, like you just said, the Cardinals whooped them. They lost 31-6 against a Cardinals team that no one in like the NFL, I know you and I were pretty high on them actually before the season. I said they're going to be in a wild card consideration. We can go back to episode 1 when we did NFL predictions. I was high on them. You were pretty high on them as well. We were like, they're going to be involved. And look at them now. They're winning. They're somehow winning the NFC West.
Yeah.
Who knows the chaos this could cause? We could have the 49ers, who I think will make the playoffs, in the wild card round, playing maybe the Eagles in round 1. That could screw over a certain Super Bowl candidate in the first round. I think the Cardinals, for embracing the chaos even, I'd put them ahead of the Chargers or Broncos. I'd move them up higher, personally.
Got to move the Broncos down because they lost.
Yeah, I don't really even want to punish the Broncos that greatly because they almost did beat the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I think they're. Ooh, okay. Before we do,
that's a big jump. That's a big jump.
Before we do our top 15, do we want to for sure our 16-20? Do we want to say that's fine?
Yeah.
Because the one thing I am looking at maybe, well, the Dolphins did beat the Rams, so I get that.
So they can't. Yeah.
So you know what? I am fine with that. I was going to say maybe Dolphins behind the Rams, but I forgot about that game, honestly, because I'm still kind of iffy on the Bucs because I think the Bucs are still good because they played close games against the 49ers and Chiefs without their receivers.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield keeps them in games. They're somehow scoring a lot of points still. Their defense is what's letting them down, personally, in my opinion. So I agree. I agree with 16-20. I do think if there's a team in there to go back up, it is the Bengals because they are a very confusing team so far, and I think they are due for a little bit of a winning ways because coming up, they have some big opportunities. They have the Chargers this weekend, Steelers, Cowboys, Titans, Browns, Broncos, Steelers to end the season. That's a very doable schedule.
Yeah, and Nicholas makes a good point in there. We move the Bengals up a tier, move the Vikings down to where the Bengals are. The Vikings got to drop. They have to drop.
You know what? I do like that.
Them and the Texans have to drop.
See, the Vikings are as well as 7-2, but they're not playing good football.
No.
They have not looked good. I brought it up a couple weeks ago about them hitting that brick wall when I said they're my lock to lose to the Lions, and they did. Then they almost lost again, or Sam Darnold hasn't looked like Sam. I think we're starting to see the Sam Darnold we expected. They only won 12-7. I think you could move them down pretty well. I think. Here's the thing. I do like that. I like that take. I think 1 through 10 is still going to be the same besides the Vikings. I think all those teams get reordered.
Yeah, this is...
I just feel weird putting a 7-2 team down at 16th.
That is so true.
It feels odd. I don't think I can do that. Okay, head-to-head wise, which of those teams in 11 through 15 do the Vikings beat? I think they lose to the Falcons, and I think they can beat the Broncos and Chargers. However, I don't know about the Cardinals, the way they're playing.
Vikings look so bad.
That's the thing, but I feel so weird putting a 7-2 team.
7-2, yeah.
If we're putting them to 16-20, that's like a team fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah, exactly.
And looking at the playoff standings right now, they're the first wild card at 7-2. Yeah. They have a 2-game window in between them and the 8 seed.
I think we put them in between Bronco. How about that? Is that crazy?
I still think the Cardinals should be ahead of the Chargers.
I'm fine with that.
Even though the Chargers have played one less game,
Yeah.
they're about the same team, but I like the Cardinals offense a lot more.
I agree.
Who knew 11 through 15?
It's damn close. It's damn close. But just because of how bad they beat the Jets, I think you got to move them up. The Chargers haven't like fully just whooped the team yet. And the Cardinals have. So
who knew 11 through 16 even would be so weird?
Yeah, this little.
I wasn't even thinking about the Vikings.
I think 6 through 10 is going to be easy. 1 through 5 is going to be really easy. This is where it gets tricky. The 11 through 20 is disgusting.
Are we locking in 11 through 15?
I don't think we can lock it in yet. I don't think it's locked in
yet.
We'll
revisit.
Let's move up to 6 through 10.
Before we move up, I think there is, if we're not locking anything in, I think that should go from 11 to 16 because I think the Bengals can still be in consideration.
This is not bias, but
wait, I can't see. You got to scroll up. It's cut off. There we go. Oh no, I agree. I agree.
Move the Texans down.
I think the Eagles have been playing really well lately, too.
This is going to depend on tonight's game. But as of right now, Commanders are over the Eagles.
I can't do that right now.
You can't?
The Eagles have looked way better as of late. Let me look at their games.
They did so
far. The Commanders also barely beat the Bears. They won off of a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
But the Eagles, as of late, they're playing really good football. They were 2-2.
We dropped the Commanders down to here?
See, here's the thing about the Eagles. Before we go,
I don't think the Commanders are beating any of the team above them right now. I don't think they're beating the Niners. They're not beating the Eagles. They're not beating the Texans. They're not beating the Packers.
I think they can beat the Packers.
I don't.
Here's the thing. Here, I'll say this about the Eagles first. They were 2-2. We were questioning their coaching. They don't look good. Then they beat the Browns. They beat the Giants. Then they're starting to look at the Eagles again when they beat the Bengals by 20 points. Yeah. They beat the Jaguars, and they just whooped the Cowboys. In Dallas, by the way. Yeah, I know we joke about the Cowboys being awful, but to do that on the road and beat a team...
It didn't matter. The road didn't matter in that situation. They were playing Cooper Rush and Trey Lance. It didn't matter. They could have been playing...
You got to put up points.
With an extra player.
Micah Parsons was in, too. Their defense looked awful.
I guess.
I think the Eagles have been playing good football.
They have.
But I agree it can come down to tonight.
That's why it's tough. If we're doing this Friday, this would be a lot easier.
But I really don't think the Commanders are better than the Eagles right now. And we can get into that when we predict the game. I think, and Nicholas just brought up the Texans are last in the 6-10 tier. That's something I've been contemplating. I think they are. You know what?
I can't put the Texans under the Niners. I can't. As of right now, I can't do it.
You know what I would do? What I would propose?
Talk to me.
The way they are playing right now, I'd put Eagles 6.
Okay.
Personally. And you don't have to lock this in.
Eagles do have a game over the Packers.
I just want to see how this gets ordered. So we do have that game against, they do have that game against the Packers. The 49ers are playing way better football, but I'm not ready to put them up there yet because McCaffrey didn't do much. He did more receiving than rushing, in my opinion. But I still think they're going to be good. I think we give them another week. I think I do think the Texans are lower than the 49ers, though. The way the Texans have looked, they don't look that good. CJ Stroud hasn't really been. They lost to They lost to Jared Goff, who threw 5 picks. They couldn't do anything. They just fell asleep the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at the Texans' schedule right now. Let's look at their games. So they're 6-4, first in the AFC South. The team below them is 4-6 in the AFC South, so it looks like they will win that division. Looking ahead, though, the teams they've lost to, they got whooped by the Vikings when they were red hot. They lost 34-7. I think everyone's forgetting about that game. They lost to the Jets a week ago, and then they just lost to the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. And Nicholas brought up no Diggs and no Nico hurts their rankings, even though it's unfortunate.
It does.
I think injuries also do come into a point when it comes to power rankings because you have to look at their odds saying, like, how long are they going to be able to do this? I know Tank Dell is okay, but he's not going to be able to step in and do everything.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz, I don't know if he can do that either. Joe Mixon is going to have to be taking a bulk of a lot of those snaps. So CJ Stroud's also going to be playing great football to do this.
There. I don't love putting. Yeah,
the thing I would argue would be Texans over Commanders.
You got to have it though, record wise.
Yeah,
injury wise, it sucks for the Texans.
Yeah,
They've lost so much.
And I see it both ways.
We had them at 5 2 weeks ago.
Yep, I see it both ways. I think they're on a 2-game losing streak. I think that hurts their rankings.
If Commanders win tonight, I'll tell you what. If Commanders win tonight, I think you drop the Eagles behind the Packers and you move the Commanders up above the Packers.
I want to look at who the Packers are playing this week. Packers have the Bears. See, if the Commanders win, I think you know what I would do? Until this weekend, if I was updating it right then and right there, yeah. I think I would reward the Commanders by putting them ahead of the Eagles, but I would shift everyone down by 1 except for the 49ers. Switch them with the Eagles until the 49ers play. Because the 49ers have the Seahawks. They have a divisional game. They beat the Seahawks last time. They beat them 36-24. But then the 49ers as well have the Packers on the 24th, Thanksgiving week. That's going to be a big one for the rankings. I think the Packers, honestly, are the Steelers of the NFC. They somehow win these games. Jordan Love has not looked great. Can I also say that? I don't think he is a beast like people think. I think he's good, but he's thrown a lot of picks this year. He hasn't been perfect. He hasn't been the quarterback I think Packers fans were hoping. I don't think he shouldn't have got paid as much as he did. I guess that's the root of this argument. But what I would do if the Commanders win tonight, 49ers 6th, Commanders 7, Eagles, Packers, Texans. Because I still can't put the Packers ahead of Philly just because they do have the head-to-head.
Yeah.
But I think the Eagles also have the better roster than the Packers. The Packers remind me of a baseball team with a bunch of solid role players that are good, but they don't have superstar. You know what I mean? They don't have superstars. They're kind of like, I'm trying to compare them something. I'm going to compare them right now to the Kansas City Royals.
Okay.
The only superstar they have is really Bobby Witt Jr. on the Royals, but they won games. They almost won 100 games. They were good. They went and they have all these role guys that are good enough. They have great pitching staff. I would compare that to the Packers really wide receiver room. They're good enough. So, but yeah, I like it how it is now. But if the Commanders win, I'm putting it Niners, Commanders, Eagles, Packers, Texans.
Yeah.
So what do you think of it right now?
So then it has to be, we got to move. It has to be this then as of right now, right?
Well, that's if the game, that's my, well, I agree with the 9. I would keep it as is right there.
Because how would the Eagles beating that switch, what else we have? I think
if the Commanders win though tonight,
Texans got to be in last
next week.
I think all that would happen is they would go to here. Yeah, okay, I like that. So if they win tonight, it would. Yeah, okay, I like that. Yeah, I like what we have right here. Niners got to be over the Packers, and then if Commanders win, we switch Commanders and Eagles, and then Eagles above the Packers still.
Yeah, if the Commanders win, or other like Nicholas said, it would go Niners 6th.
Yeah, I like that.
Commanders, Eagles, Packers.
I like that.
6 to 10 is perfect. Nicholas just said it. We have people liking it. I think we agree on that one.
Okay.
It was just a little bit of reshuffle.
1 through 5, we got to change some shit.
Okay, let's start with 1 and 2.
I don't know, dude. The Lions they have 5 picks from Goff. Do we reward them keeping them at 1? I mean, they did win.
I don't think you can keep. Here's the thing.
But again, the Chiefs should have lost. And if the Chiefs lost, we would have been talking about Ravens at 2.
Just look at the Chiefs' schedule lately. They could have lost a lot of these games, but they're winning these games. They could have lost the Bengals in week 2 when it came down to that PI.
Yeah.
That the player on defense shouldn't have done that. It was a clear PI. Yeah, we talked about that weeks ago. Blah, 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 blah. They got a great special teams play to block.
Hear me out.
And stay in. I think they're 1.
Ravens 2, Chiefs 3.
I can't.
You can't. I mean, they're undefeated, but they barely beat the Broncos. Lions have to be 1. I agree, Nick.
See, I want to keep them 1, but I know people are going to hate it. But at the same time,
that is true.
I understand the Chiefs are undefeated, but like Nicholas said, if you throw 5 picks and you still win, that's just a bad game from one player. That just showed how
Yeah.
they beat
you're
a team
still
they had in the
winning.
top. They
Yeah,
they
that's
did that to a
crazy.
team in the Texans. That is a good football team.
Crazy.
I think
Yeah.
the Chiefs.
Yeah,
the Chiefs
Lions
also
got
beat the
Lions are the
Ravens.
best team in the NFL.
Yep, the Chiefs beat the Ravens, so I think the Chiefs should be 2. They beat them in Week 1. Now 4 and 5. I agree with that in the sense is if the playoffs happen today, I think the Bills beat the Steelers. We saw it last year. The Steelers had a chance per se. They kind of came back, but then they lost it. I would trust Josh Allen in the playoffs more so than Russell Wilson, even though I know Russell Wilson has a great playoff resume. He has Super Bowls and he's won it he's won in the playoffs. But here's the thing with Josh Allen. I think he's a better QB than Russ, as much as I hate saying that.
Obviously.
I love seeing the Steelers in the top 5. I love seeing the Steelers get so much respect. Yeah. And here's the thing that makes the Steelers look better. And I saw this guy who's people live stream on TikTok with the stupid rankings, and they're like, oh, or whatever. But they're like, oh, the Steelers had an easy schedule. I commented, and he's like, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, here's the team that the so-called easy schedule that the Steelers beat and they went through. They're all playoff teams right now. The Falcons, Broncos, and Chargers. They beat them all. Look at them right now. The Chargers are, I think, 3 over 500. The Broncos are somehow at 500, and the Falcons are leading the NFC South. I think
Steelers got a gauntlet coming up. I'll tell you what,
those are good wins.
Steelers could be at 5 right now. By the end of their next 3-game stretch, we could be talking about the Steelers all the way down to like here. They got a gauntlet coming up with AFC North. Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And I think if the Browns lose to the Steelers twice, we're talking about the Browns down around behind the Jags.
I want to clarify to Nicholas what I said about the quarterback situation, because he said if you're comparing Russ, you got to put him lower than that. I agree with that statement, but I'm just thinking Bills' perspective, because the Steelers are a better football team than all of those teams right now, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, compared to the Bills, I think they have the better roster. Okay. And I want to
I agree.
The Steelers' schedule is a gauntlet. That's why I'm putting them behind the Bills. And looking what the Bills have coming up, you know what? They have a gauntlet themselves these next 4 games. Hold up. Chiefs this weekend.
Bills only beat the Bills only beat the Colts by 10.
Did you see their schedule the next 4?
Mm-mm.
Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions. Rams, Lions on the road. I think the Rams are a trap game for the Bills. We've seen the Rams play close. Sean McVay can do it. Matthew Stafford, Kupp, Nakua, everything. The Detroit Lions on the road on December 15th, 10 days before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Bills fans. That's going to be a great game. December 1st, you have a home game against the Niners. And then this weekend, you have a home game against the Chiefs. So you have a bye week after the Chiefs, it looks like. But they have a gauntlet. But then their last 3 games are so easy. This is funny how this went. Home against the Patriots 3 days before Christmas. Merry Christmas to that. That might save where they're at. The Jets at home on the 29th. And then you're celebrating the new year on the 5th against the Patriots again on the road. So the Bills have a gauntlet, I would say, through 3 of their next 4. And then the easiest thing they could get rid of to make up for anything they lose the final 3 weeks. But looking at the top 5, I do like Lions. I like Chiefs. I like Ravens. I like Bills. I like Steelers. I like that order.
Yep.
I think if there's any team that can make a jump, it could be the Steelers this week if they do it.
I think
they do something
crazy. I
crazy.
can't see. Here's my thing. This is the Bills' ceiling this season. I don't think I can be comfortable putting the Bills any higher than this the rest of the season.
I think
if they win out.
Yeah, the Bills
win out. I'm saying if the Bills don't lose another football game, I still have them at 4. They're not a better team than the Ravens. They're not a better team than the Chiefs. They're not a better team than the Lions. They're not. They're at their ceiling right now. This is the ceiling for this Bills team. They're not going to go any higher than this the rest of the season. I can't do that.
The Bills lost by 25 to the Ravens.
That's what I'm saying. They can't jump the Ravens. They cannot. It can't happen. They're not going to jump the Chiefs, and they're not going to jump. This is their ceiling.
Now, here's the question. If this weekend we can get into a few games, if the Steelers beat the Ravens this weekend, where do the Steelers land? Do you still put them behind the Ravens just because if the Steelers somehow beat the Ravens, if they upset them, because they're the underdogs even though they're at home?
Oh, Bills play Chiefs.
Yeah, the Bills got a gauntlet. But the Bills
if the Bills beat the Chiefs drop to 4. Bills go to 3, Ravens go to 2.
But what if the Steelers beat the Ravens?
then everything.
Number 1
then
through
everything-
5 is going to shake
everything's
up like crazy. Because here's
Everything's
the thing.
crazy.
I don't think.
Okay. Let's say Bills beat the Chiefs. This is what would happen, right? But the Steelers beat the Ravens.
Okay, here's what I would do. Lions will stay at 1. I think they're going to win this weekend. I'm not sure if they have a bye week either, but they'll be.
The Ravens beat. Oh my God, this would be crazy. This would be crazy. This would be crazy.
It's funny. The Steelers would only move up by 1 because
only one if they beat the Ravens, and they wouldn't move past the Ravens.
I think their best.
Here's the thing. This is why. This is why that they would not jump the Ravens. This is why. I'll tell you why. Because if you're probably like, well, if the Steelers beat the Ravens, why aren't they above the Ravens? I'll tell you why. It's a divisional game.
Yeah.
They're going to be close no matter what. This is not, the Steelers are matched up against the Ravens, this week, and then they beat them. If that was the case, sure. But this is a divisional game. These teams hate each other. This is rivalry. You can't put the Steelers above the Ravens. It's just if they beat them this week. Now, if the Steelers sweep the Ravens this year, and would have a better record than them, then I think you're talking about moving the Chiefs back up and kind of putting a blinder on to what the Bills did.
Now, if the Bills, okay, let's do a hypothetical now. So that's if the
There's just no reality in the National Football League where the Steelers are the second best team in the NFL. There's not a reality.
I don't think they would get as much respect.
It just can't happen. I'm sorry, it can't happen. Yeah. They're not explosive enough. They win games and they're putting up offensive points for the first time ever, but they're just not the second best team in the league. It can't happen.
Yep. I think if the Steelers do win this weekend, people are going to wake up. They're going to be like, "Oh, they're better." If you weren't,
but it's so. There's a little asterisk next to it because it's a divisional game. These are teams that it doesn't. Here's the thing: it doesn't matter if the Steelers are 0-16 and the Ravens are 16-0. It's going to be a damn good game, no matter what the records are. So that's why this matchup is just kind of flawed with power rankings. It's going to be a war. No matter what the record is, no matter how good each teams are, it's going to prove stuff. But it's at the end of the day, it's a divisional matchup. It's so tough. It's so tough.
Now here's one final question before we put it back where we were. So can you reset it for a second and put the Chiefs back up to 2? I think you had, or where did you have the Chiefs? Were they 2 originally?
What?
So can you reset it how we originally had it? Just for this hypothetical I want to make. I think
This is what it was. This is what it was.
So that was that hypothetical if the Steelers and Bills both win. Now let's do if the Steelers are the only team to win. How does this change? Do we just flip? Are the Steelers capping at 4? Is that how it's going to go? Do they cap at 4?
The whole season?
Yeah.
I think they cap at 3 or 4.
So which of those teams do you think they can jump?
Bills.
Well, if they cap at 3, which of those top 3 teams will end up below the Steelers if they're elite?
They would have to. I'll tell you what. They have to sweep the Ravens for them to end up above the Ravens in the power rankings. Yeah. They'd have to sweep them.
Yeah,
they have to.
I like how it is now because personally, on paper, those teams are better than the Steelers. But the thing about the Steelers that propels them is their defense. They have the best defense in the NFL. One of the best defenses.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah.
The Lions have a pretty good defense as well. So those 2 teams deserve to be in the top 5. I think the defense is. It's the thing about the Steelers that shocked me. It's no longer the defense carrying them. Their offense has looked good. And I think when the Steelers offense is good, people are starting to wake up. People want to say, "Oh, well, Russell Wilson only beat the Jets and the Giants and the Commanders." Well, that was their best win. If they want to compare what's your best win this season, they just beat the Commanders, who everyone is so high on out of nowhere. They're the new bandwagon team of the NFL, I think. It's going to become that. Now, I respect the Commanders, but a lot of people, like these fans coming out of nowhere to support the Commanders. Yeah. But, if that's not a good enough win, I don't know what is. Everyone is going to downplay the Pittsburgh Steelers, whatever. They're better than I think what people think. But I do like that. I think Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Steelers makes sense. And I think it's crazy that I
think we're good here. Yeah. I think we're good with our top 5. I think now we can do some picking at whatever else. And I think the team that I want to just look at is the Vikings.
You want to use do you want to do a veto? We each get a veto?
We each get a veto. Okay.
Go ahead and use yours.
I don't know what I want to use it on.
I might be in the same range, that 11th through 15th.
Yeah, it's got to come through there. It's got to. Falcons just lost to the Saints, bro.
I forgot about that.
They lost to the Saints.
I didn't even notice. I forgot about that completely. That's not crazy. That's not crazy at all. Maybe. Is that your veto?
I mean, if we're agreeing on it, I don't think it's a veto, but
No. I think there is something I would change. I think the Falcons are better than the Broncos. The Broncos are the perfectly middle of the pack team right now.
yeah.
I think that's
All right.
perfect for them. I don't really even know if I want to veto anything.
I kind of like this. I kind of really like our list.
I think that we didn't even talk about the Falcons. That was the thing that just saved our list. I forgot they lost to the Saints. Completely forgot about
I mean, they lost to the Saints. Derek Carr was back, though. Ugh.
They lost to the Saints by 3.
This 11th through 15th was going to get us crucified online.
Here's the teams that the Falcons lost to. They lost to the Steelers, who are top 5 right now. They lost to the Chiefs, who are top 5.
Mhm.
They've lost to the Seahawks, by 20.
Okay, with my same logic. For Steelers Ravens, we have to keep the same logic for Saints Falcons. It's a divisional game. It's a rivalry. These teams hate each other.
Yeah.
Those are each other's rivals. I mean,
I think the Falcons are better than them on paper.
Yeah, I think that saves. I think them being divisional rivals and it being a divisional game saves the Falcons from jumping down past the Cardinals.
Yeah. Here's the logic that I would use behind that. If the Steelers lost to the Ravens, I'm not punishing them as bad because you know what? Both those teams are good. But if the Falcons
lose
to
the
Saints,
Ravens, they're going down behind the Eagles or whoever wins this.
But I'm not dropping them down to 11th to 20. Like most people will probably do. But if the Falcons lost to the Saints, I get where people will be like, they might be frauds. Because I think the Saints and Falcons, there's more of a gap between those teams skill-wise than Steelers-Ravens right now. I think the Saints are bad. They just went on a massive losing streak. Yeah. They started 2-0, but then they just collapsed. They just got their 3rd win. I understand that the Falcons are 6-4, and I understand the argument people will make saying like, well, it's the NFC South. They stink. The NFC South is better than people think it is. If the Bucs had their receivers, I think the Bucs have a winning record right now. I think the Bucs are still in a playoff race as well. I don't think they're done the way they're playing close games, or it's just their defense letting them down. But are we locking it in?
Locked.
Lock
it in.
I like it. Go ahead and show the top 5 again because it's cut off on my end. See, that's a good list. I like those. I like it.
I think we keep it at this.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's a team to watch out for this week, it's the entire Steelers to the Texans. That's what could get shaken up this weekend.
I can't wait for the Panthers to beat the Chiefs this week.
Oh, I'm so hyped.
Put us in a blender.
Now, okay, moving on to so I guess that's our list. Do we want to discuss maybe 3 or 4 games we're watching this weekend?
Let's do our preview for Thursday Night Football. I think we got to give some.
Let's start with Thursday Night Football. It's a really good game too.
Solid game.
Eagles Commanders.
Where is this game? Hold on, I gotta pull up my ESPN.
It is in Philly.
In Philly.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, do you know the spread? What is it?
Philly -4 through ESPN Bet on there, and then total 49.5 for total points.
Yeah. Who do you just want to pick winners real quick and then kind of get into it?
I think the Eagles are winning this.
I
think the Commanders are going to start hitting that brick wall a little bit. Yeah. They might come back down to earth, but they're still good.
They had a rough loss last week. A rough loss. Yeah. I mean, a game that they really should have won. I mean, if you don't have that offsides, I think Mike Tomlin was not going to go for that. I think he was going to end up punting, but
it came down to an inch.
It did, and really just a tough loss for the Commanders. And I think if they lose this week, it's just going to be a devastating blow for their season and what they've had so far. Eagles need this win pretty bad. They need to get that leg up on the Commanders. This is a must-win game. I think it's a must-win game for both parties, honestly. This is a battle for the top of that division right now. And early on, if you can get a leg up on the top of your division at this point in the season against the team that's number 2, that's pretty huge. So I'm going to roll with the Eagles here. I think at home, it's kind of a no-brainer for me. The way Saquon's been playing, Jalen Hurts has been playing. Honestly, I think Devontae Adams is going to I think Devontae Smith is going to have a very big game tonight. A very big game tonight.
Yep.
The Eagles secondary, or the Commanders secondary is horrible. It's bad. And they did just get Marshawn Lattimore, so I think he's going to take away a lot of A.J. Brown tonight. And that being said, I think Devontae Smith is going to feast. He's going to feast tonight. Him and Zach Ertz are going to have a big game. Zach Ertz is going to get in the end zone. Devontae Smith is going to go off. He's going to just go off. And Saquon might have a nice game. But the Eagles, they're going to win this game. I don't know by a hefty amount. I could see it being a 2-score game. They win it by, honestly.
Can we talk before? I was going to bring up really quick the Eagles rookie corners. Those looked like great picks. I can't believe they got
Cooper
both of them. Yeah, and then Quinion Mitchell, I think his name is, guy from Toledo.
Sure.
But Nicholas made a good point in the chat, and I kind of agree with him here. We can't really overthink it because it took the Commanders a Hail Mary to beat the Bears. Yep. And that is the most coin flip type of play. That came down to, I think it was Stevenson taunting the crowd.
Yeah.
If he was in position, I still don't know if he would stop it because it took a weird bounce. But if he's in that pile, maybe the Bears are winning. Maybe their offensive coordinator is not fired. But yeah, tonight I'm going Philly. I feel confident with picking the Eagles. I almost said the Phillies. I feel confident picking the Eagles. I think they are going to win tonight. They're pretty good at home. I think the Commanders, looking at their schedule ahead, there could be some trap games for them. This is kind of a time to prove it. They have the Eagles tonight. The Cowboys are always going to give them issues, even though the Cowboys stink right now. But Commanders, Cowboys historically. Titans, they should win. Saints, they just beat the Falcons. Watch out, Commanders. Who knows? I don't want to sound crazy, but that could be a trap. Eagles again. Falcons, that's going to be a good game at the end of the year. Both those teams could be fighting for a playoff spot. The Falcons could be fighting for a divisional, maybe to clinch it. The Commanders could be fighting for a wild card or to stay pace with the Eagles, and then the Cowboys close the season. But if the Commanders win tonight, I think the division comes down to that final game against the Eagles on the 22nd, 3 days before Christmas. That could be a Christmas present for Commanders fans if maybe they can clinch division at that time, because the Eagles still have some tough games. They have the Steelers, who are looking pretty decent, and they have a bunch of divisional games left. Their last 3 games of the season, I don't have the order in my head, but they literally have every one of their divisional opponents final 3 weeks. So, but they would have the Commanders on the 22nd. But other than that, I am picking the Eagles. I think they're good enough to win this. I think not to bring up the power rankings again, but I think the Eagles move up to the top 5 if the Steelers lose and if the Bills lose. I think they would jump both of those teams because the Eagles, they've won me over, I will say. They won me over. I was very frustrated with how they've been playing the first 4 weeks. They started 2-2.
Sirianni, regardless of how good the Eagles team, he's got to go. He's an idiot.
Yeah. Their win against the Bengals, I think, was their most impressive. And that kind of won me over and said, okay, the Eagles are back. They've woken up. That offense looks good. Saquon Barkley looks really good in that offense. But yeah, that's my pick. I guess we're both going Eagles tonight.
Yeah.
I like it. So do we want to talk I guess there's a couple other games I kind of want to discuss. I do want to hit Steelers Ravens. I think that's one of listen, this weekend in football is by far, I think, one of the best weekends for matchups. There's a couple games I think we should talk about. Steelers Ravens, we could talk about. I think we should talk about a game like let's see here, Chiefs Bills. That's a big one. And then, well, actually, I think it's literally a doubleheader on like CBS. So we're going to really go from Steelers Ravens to Chiefs Bills back to back. Those could both be Sunday night football games. So and I guess we could also talk, I can't believe this is an important game for both sides. Falcons Broncos. Who knew that would be an important game? But which one do we want to talk first? What do we think?
Chiefs Bills. This is one of the best rivalries we have in the NFL right now, right? And this is one of the best. I said this is the best non-divisional rivalry in the NFL as of right now. I mean, these two guys, they match up in the playoffs. The Bills are just sick of losing to the Commanders. They're sick of it. Yeah. Not the Commanders. They're sick of losing to the Chiefs. The Bills have to be. Mahomes owns the Bills. He just does. And I think this is a spot where the Bills got to jump the Chiefs.
I think I'm not confident in saying it, but I do think the Bills win. I think they finally win one.
I'm going to take the Chiefs.
You're saying 10-0.
Find a way. They just find a way.
That's the thing. That's why I'm not confident in taking the Bills. But I don't think the Chiefs are going to go 17-0. I don't think they finish the season undefeated.
Yeah.
I think if there's a team they could lose to, it's going to be the Bills. They have the best chance. Because looking at what the Chiefs have, I know the Broncos gave them a run for their money. But here's the thing. Bills, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos. There might be 4 teams in there that might give them a little bit of a game. Those would be the Bills, the Texans, the Steelers, and the Broncos. Those are the 4 teams. We already saw the Broncos do it once. It came down to a blocked field goal, not even missed. It was blocked. Great special teams play. It won them the game. Special teams are important. We've seen that with the Steelers. It's won them a lot of games this year. And the Broncos will have another chance January 5th. That is our last game of the season. I think that could be a game where the Broncos are fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
The way the Broncos are, that could be a game where they maybe clinch a good playoff spot, maybe a good seed. But other than that, I am taking Buffalo. I like Josh Allen in this matchup. I like him with him. I think Amari Cooper is healthy. I hope he is. But I like the Bills offense slightly more than the Chiefs a little bit. I don't know if that sounds dumb, but
it's not crazy.
It is not crazy. I mean, the Bills have had some lopsided losses. We cannot forget about those. They lost to the Ravens by 25. They lost to the Texans by 3. I guess their only lopsided loss was an embarrassing one. But they've also played some pretty close ones. Winning by 10 to the Colts, that probably shouldn't have happened. They beat the Dolphins by 3. Those are always close games. But then they also whooped the Dolphins by 21. So the Bills, it's every so often. I think they're going to play way better against the Chiefs than they did against the Colts. That's why I'm picking the Bills. I think they are the team to beat the Chiefs. Honestly, the Chiefs could finish with 1 or 2 losses, and I wouldn't be shocked. I think they will finish with maybe a max of 2, just because. And Mahomes, like you said, Mahomes isn't even playing great football. He's not playing his best, and they do it. They do it somehow.
Sure. Move on to another game here.
You want to do Steelers Ravens?
Yeah, let's preview Steelers Ravens.
This is the big one.
This is in Pittsburgh. Baltimore's favored by Pittsburgh. Basically, this is a pick 'em. They're saying no, this is not a pick 'em. They're saying the Steelers are +6 here because they're giving us +3, but automatically gets 3-point home field advantage. Jeez. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I 3-1 at home. They find a way. They always beat the Ravens. This is just it's going to happen. And but what's happened recently is we've lost the home games. Like the Ravens have beat us at home, and we beat them in Baltimore. So
yeah, you think that flips this year?
I can flip the script. Or if the Ravens lose, I'm not worried because we're going to beat them in Baltimore. It's one or the other.
It's a split.
Yeah.
Last year they swept them, but here's the thing. The Steelers had a bad quarterback room and they still swept the Ravens, but the Ravens played all their bench guys the second time around, but they beat Lamar in Pittsburgh the first time. I think it was 17-10. Mm-hmm. I think that the defense this year is better than last year's, and the way they have been able to, I guess, control Lamar Jackson in the pocket and not really let him scurry around. I don't know if you saw Mike Tomlin's press conference, but he referred to Lamar as Mr. Jackson. That is the respect factor that they have for him. It's not first name basis with him. It's like, we respect you as a great quarterback. So we're
Ravens. I don't respect anything about them. I hate them.
You hate them? See, if there's a team I hate in the AFC North, it's the Cleveland Browns.
I hate the Ravens the most.
I hate the Ravens in the aspect they're a big rival. But you know what? We own them. So we're always going to split or sweep. I think this game is going to come down to one thing that we haven't seen in a while. It's going to come down to Chris Boswell. Because the Steelers, I don't want to say our games because I don't want to be biased here, but the Steelers as of late have not had to rely on Chris Boswell to even hit field goals. It's been a while since he's I don't think he had a single field goal in Washington. They had 4 touchdowns. When's the last time we haven't seen Chris Boswell hit a field goal or have one attempt at least in a game? It's been forever. And Justin Tucker has been playing awful this year. He missed an extra point, I think, last weekend. It came out of nowhere. I was like, I'm watching. I was like, ain't no way. The best kicker in the NFL just missed an extra point. He's no longer best kicker in the NFL. That would either go to Brandon Aubrey or Chris Boswell.
Yeah.
Aubrey of the Cowboys, Boswell the Steelers. I think it's going to come down to special teams. I expect there to be the typical crazy block punt or something crazy that the Steelers do with Danny Smith, just because they love him so much, and I think the Yinzers love him so much. And the thing is, though, I'm still not confident picking the Steelers just because I know the history of they beat the Ravens in Pittsburgh last time, but usually, like you said, it's each team wins on the road. I think, however, and it's what's good about this game is they don't play the last game of the season. This time around, it's Steelers-Bengals last week of the season. I think Browns-Ravens. But that game could be huge, by the way. We might be talking about that in a couple of weeks as win and you're in, especially on a Bengals aspect of it. But I think the Steelers might win this. And Nicholas brought up a good point in the chat. Deontay's return to Pittsburgh.
That hurts them.
You think it does? I think he's going to be heckled a lot. The fans are going to let him know if he drops a football or probably boo him a little bit, even though he didn't leave on purpose. But there was stuff like he got in arguments with Minka behind the scenes. That was a big one in the locker room. And then like every running backwards, dropping footballs. Fans could get in their heads, but the tickets are expensive. I was looking today and they're like in the $250 range. I'm like, well, looks like I'm not going, but I was thinking about it. But other than that, I am taking the Steelers. I'm not confident in it just because I know history and this matchup. It goes like you said in our power rankings. It literally is a coin flip in these divisional games with the AFC North, especially because the Steelers could even lose to the Browns this year just because of how the AFC North is. They switch off usually split at least. But I mean, I don't think that's going to happen this year. But I am going to take the Steelers. I think it's close. If I'm giving a score, I'll give a score and then I'll let you give one.
17. I mean, the era of me saying 17-10 for every game is over now.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to say Steelers 24, Ravens 21.
See, okay, so the Bengals, what scares me about the Ravens is their games they had against the Bengals and how Joe Burrow and Lamar were just having a shootout. Russell Wilson did have 3 touchdown passes, but it was probably his worst game as a Steeler completion percentage-wise. People were talking about it. They still won, don't get me wrong, but like watching it, that was probably one of his worst games. He had the pick, but we all knew that was coming. Now, I don't trust this to be a shootout just in the aspect of I think both defenses are good, but I think the Steelers' defense is miles better than the Ravens. The Ravens' defense is very suspect, in my opinion. I think the Steelers win it by a final score of like, what do you say again? 24 to what?
24-21. Chris Boswell's coming off his toe. We haven't had a Boswell game-winning field goal this season.
In a while.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I think this game's going to be – you said 24-21, correct?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to take that. I think this game maybe hit the 30-point range. I think this could be a crazy to say a game of the year candidate just because how much it means, I think, more so to the Steelers side of things. Because if you're a Steelers guy in the Steelers locker room, you're trying to show the league you are not to be messed with. I think this is a game they really want. It's Ravens week. It's been hyped up all week. This is a game I wish that was on Sunday night instead of like Steelers Jets or Steelers Cowboys. I'm going to take 32-31. I think it's very close. Steelers win it.
Wow, 1-point game.
Very close game. It's going to come down to a mistake on one end. And I think that mistake could come through special teams, and the Steelers special teams unit has looked like crazy good this year. And I think they're going to take advantage. I think the only time I hated them was that fake punt in the last game. I think I went off about that on Tuesday, but that's the one thing that's going to, I think, push them over the edge. Special teams.
Yeah.
The Steelers over Ravens. Do we want to do quick picks for the other ones?
Yeah, let's do rapid fire picks.
Okay. Packers, Bears.
Packers, Bears, give me the Pack.
I'm going to go as well with the Packers. Jaguars, Lions.
Give me the Lions.
Detroit all the way.
Chiefs.
Vikings, Texans.
Minus 14.
Vikings, Titans, that is.
I'll take the Vikings.
I am as well going to take Minnesota.
Jeez.
This game, I don't. Raiders Dolphins. I'm taking the Dolphins, but it has the potential to be a stinker.
Yeah.
It should be a stinker.
The Dolphins are due for one. Like they're healthy. They're due for a game where they just explode offensively. I'm going to take the Dolphins. They're due.
Rams Patriots. This could be an upset.
In Foxborough, give me the Patriots.
I kind of want to take the Patriots too, but you know what? I am going to take the Rams.
Okay.
But it could be upset alert.
Browns Saints, I'll take the Browns.
I am as well taking the Browns. If the Saints win, though, the Browns are officially done.
Yep.
I know hypothetically they could go 10-7, sneak in and go on a crazy win streak, but if they lose to the Saints, it's over. Done. Colts Jets.
I
think Richardson's playing.
Jets. Yep. AR is finally back. Give me the Jets.
I am as well. I'm going to take the Jets.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Jets.
This was a game I brought up earlier. We didn't talk about it in depth. Who knew this would be a good game?
Broncos Falcons.
Yeah, 6-4 Falcons, 5-5 Broncos. The Broncos, I think, are a success story this year.
I'm gonna take the Falcons here.
I'm gonna take Kirk Cousins. It is in Denver though, so who knows how that's gonna affect them? But I am gonna take the Falcons.
Seahawks Niners rivalry. I'll take the Niners.
I'm taking the Niners as well. CMC's back. They got to win. They're back in the win column. They're back.
Chiefs Bills.
I already said Bills. You had Chiefs.
I'll say Chiefs. Bengals Chargers. Ugh.
Ooh.
I'll take the Bengals. The Bengals have to win.
They have to. Yep.
Chargers are favored in Inglewood. I'll take the Bengals. Texans Cowboys.
Hold up.
Bengals. Yeah, you didn't give a pick. My bad.
Bengals Chargers. You know what? This is my upset pick of the week. Even though they're 6-3, Chargers win it.
Okay.
Jim Harbaugh.
Chargers are favored here.
Yeah. But I know people looking at it, though, would probably still call it an upset just because the Bengals are definitely better on paper. Chargers,
I guess.
I like their defense. I don't like the Bengals' defense. Herbert, I think he's playing. So, Chargers, upset.
Cowboys, Texans. I mean, this is gross.
I would hope the Texans.
Monday Night Football. Oh, I'll take the Texans. Oh, my God. Gross.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans as well. And I absolutely love, instead of having a Chiefs Bills or Ravens Steelers Sunday Night Football matchup, we get Bengals Chargers. I really don't think that should be Sunday Night Football, personally. That's more of a CBS type of game. I like those picks. If there's an upset alert, who do you have? I think you had the Patriots.
Patriots, yeah.
I'm going to go Chargers, but the Patriots as well, I was very tempted to take them. They look good. I like Drake May. Like him a lot. Anything else you want to do at Weddle? What do we think?
We can rip a Weddle if you want.
We'll do a Weddle, then call it. What a great power ranking on the screen. I think that went well.
Play again.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's do someone tonight. Let's go with Saquon.
Yep.
NFC East.
Let's try a QB. We haven't had a QB in a while. Jaden Daniels. He's below 27.
Are there defensive players?
Wait. It says above 26, not Jaden.
Yeah, jersey number. I'm thinking tight end, Dallas Goedert.
I like that pick. Wait, no, it's not Philly.
He's a tight end.
Okay, it's not Philly.
You're right.
Tight ends. Who's the Commanders guy? Who did we just face? I forget.
Ertz.
The Giants have Zach Ertz. I like that one.
6'5".
Ferguson of the Cowboys.
He was one a few weeks ago.
That's what I think so. Jake Ferguson.
I mean, yeah, but he was one literally like a few days ago.
We're gonna have to play again. That was boring.
Yeah, play again.
I can't believe I got two Jake Fergusons.
Let's go with Joe Flacco. AFC.
It's not a QB.
Not a quarterback.
Above
receiver,
number 15.
Number 15 or higher.
And go Kelsey. Let's see what happens. Travis Kelsey. Hopefully it's not back to back tight ends. Oh my gosh.
In the AFC North.
Okay, it's not Freiermuth because it's 87.
Yeah, true.
Below 87. It's not Mark Andrews either because I think he's 88.
Yep.
Or no, he's 89. He's 89.
He's number 85.
Who's the Bengals? The Bengals tight
Yeah,
end.
he's not in the AFC North. He's in
Oh,
the AFC West. So it's not. No, he's in the AFC North or the AFC East. Oh my gosh.
Jets.
Gesicki? No, he's on the. Is Mike Gesicki on the Patriots? No, he's on the Bengals now, right?
Bengals, I think, yes. So we would have the
Dolphins. Oh, who's the Dolphins?
Ooh, yeah.
Sanu or whatever.
No, I can't think of. They never throw to him. He's not a guy they like to throw to anyway. It's kind of weird.
What's his name? No, they've been recently. Johnny Smith, I think.
Jonnu Smith. That's his name, I think. The Dolphins.
Oh my God, he's in the AFC East, obviously. 29, nice. He's number 85. Oh my God.
Okay,
Why did we not think about that? Why did we not take that into account?
Patriots, Jets, and Bills. Oh, Kincaid.
Yeah, Kincaid. It's Kincaid.
If it's not Kincaid, I think we're screwed.
Yeah, Kincaid. Bang. What? 86?
Well,
so he's on the Patriots?
It's a Patriot or a Jet.
Yeah.
Well, this sucks. We just played the Jets, and I don't remember their tight end.
Yeah.
And I do not know the Patriots tight end.
Oh, I don't think Gesicki's gone.
Gesicki is on the Bengals. If you want to try him, we do have a guess.
You know what? It's Hunter Henry.
Oh, yeah, he's on the Patriots. Hunter Henry. What a pull. You carried that one. That's all you. Hunter Henry.
Bang rang.
That was all you.
We got nervous there. We got scared.
Love it.
Nicholas said Hunter Henry. I didn't even see it.
Yeah, I was
said it after. He said it after. Yeah. Bang.
What an episode.
Yep, good episode. I think we should post our rankings on our Instagram or on the TikTok and see what people got to say. But go drop a comment on that post if you agree with it, disagree with it. Let us know how you feel. But until then, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Adios, everyone.